Hi everyone, welcome to the session. In this session I am going to discuss about the concept of markup and margin. So let's discuss the difference between markup and margin. So if you are given the profit and the profit is expressed as a percentage of markup or as a percentage of margin, so how do you identify, how do you calculate the profit, either profit or selling price or the cost? So how do you identify? So this is what I am going to discuss in this particular video. So in order to explain this particular concept, so let me take an example. So what is example? So let's say the cost of production of particular item is 100. So this is a cost, okay, and we are adding a profit of 25. So what will be the selling price? The selling price will be 125, and this 25 profit, okay, can be expressed, this 25 profit can be expressed in two ways, okay. So this can be expressed in two ways. So what are those two ways? This 25 can be expressed as a percentage of cost, either as a percentage of cost or as a percentage of selling price, okay. So let's take as a percentage of cost. So what is the first method? As a percentage of cost, as a percentage of cost. So this is known as markup. This way of calculating the profit is known as markup. And if the profit is expressed as a percentage of selling price, so this is as a percentage of selling price. So this is known as margin, okay. So you need to know the difference. If the profit is expressed as a percentage of the cost, that is known as markup, and if the profit is expressed as a percentage of selling price, which is known as margin. So let's calculate. If the profit is 25, then 25 divided by the cost, which is 100, times 100 will be 25%, okay. So the profit is calculated as a percentage of the cost. The markup is 25%. We can say the markup is 25%. Then if the profit is expressed in terms of selling price, then how do you calculate? 25 divided by 125 times 100, so that will give you 20%, okay. So this 20% is profit margin. So profit margin on selling price, markup on cost. So this is a simple way of calculating the markup and margin. So when it comes to a question, this will be little bit complicated, okay. So therefore, in order to understand this particular concept, okay, so I am going to explain you, if you are given a question to identify the profit and the profit is calculated, if the profit is expressed as a percentage of markup or as a percentage of margin, so what is the simple way and how we can calculate the profit? So this is what I am going to discuss, okay. So let me explain you the simple way how to identify the profit. So if the profit is expressed as a percentage of selling price, Okay, the first one, profit is expressed as a percentage of selling price, or we can say margin, profit margin. Then you assume the selling price as 100. Okay, so selling price as 100. So then it will be very easy for you to calculate the profit and the cost. And the second one is, if the profit is expressed as a percentage of the cost, or we call it markup, then you assume the cost as 100%. Okay, so then if the profit is expressed as a markup, then you apply that percentage on the cost, and you can easily calculate the selling price and the profit and the selling price. Okay, so this is the simple way that you can identify the profit. Okay, so let me take an example to explain this particular concept. Now let's look at the question. Peter sells a dress at 10% margin. So how the profit is expressed? 10% margin. So which means the profit is expressed on selling price. The dress cost the factory 9,000. The cost of the dress is 9,000. Calculate the profit. Now, since you are given the cost and the profit is expressed as a percentage of selling price, so you can't directly apply 10% on 9,000. So that's what I told you. If the profit margin is expressed, if the profit is expressed as a percentage of selling price or margin, so you need to equal that to 100%. The selling price should be 100%. Then what should be the profit? Okay, so 10% on selling price, that will be 10. Then what should be the cost? What should be the cost? So in order to arrive at cost from selling price, you need to minus the profit. So therefore your cost should be as a percentage 90%. Okay, so this is as a percentage. So what is the actual cost? This is what we need to identify now. So what is the real cost? The real cost is 9,000. Then if you know the real cost, and if you know the percentage of the real cost, which is 90%, okay, so as a percentage the cost is 90%, whereas your real cost is 9,000. Okay, so you can equal this real cost to the percentage. So if you know 90% is equal to 9,000, then it will be easy for you to identify the selling price and also the profit. So how do you calculate this? To calculate, since 90% is equal to 9,000, so simply what you can do is you divide by 90 times 10 will be the profit. Okay, so how much is this? This will be 1,000. Then here 9,000 divided by 90 times 100. Okay, so this is 10,000. So 10,000 minus 1,000 will be 9,000. So this is the real selling price, and this will be the real profit, the actual profit, and this is the actual cost. So if you apply 10% on this 10,000, if you apply 10% on this 10,000, so that will be 1,000. Okay, is that clear? So therefore, if you are given the cost and the profit is given as a percentage of selling price or as a margin, what you should do? You should take the selling price as 100%. Then calculate the profit, 10% on selling price, which is 10%. This is as a percentage. Then what should be the cost as a percentage, which is 90%. Now take the actual cost and identify the actual profit and the actual selling price by substituting these percentages to the actual results. Is that clear? Okay. Now let's move on to another question.